Game of the week. The Buffalo Bills versus the Jets. That's what me and Don picked. That's what me and Don picked as game of the week. Bills and the Jets. Let's talk about Justin Fields here, man. He looked really good. Can you really say that he's comeback player of the year material? Even though he got benched after the 6th game, leading the Steelers in rushing touchdowns. They were winning games. We don't understand. They were more than 500. Can we really say, like, I don't know. I can tell you what, though. Everything that I really evaluated on Justin Fields came through on Sunday. Regardless of the loss, their defense played like buns. The Jets' defense played like absolute buns. And I hope they step up to the plate this time. Because this is going to be another hard game. Are we all certain that this is going to be a hard game? The Bills, I don't want to say they look like the best team in the NFL, but it's hard to say that they're not at this point in time. If they play their game, if they play like they did against who I think is the best team in the NFL with the Ravens, if they play like that against the Jets are in trouble. But Justin Fields looked good. That play at the end of the game where he rolls out and he's looking and it looks like the first down marker is right there. Then he throws it to Garrett Wilson and Jalen Ramsey comes down and pops him and lets the ball loose. Oh, to say that I sighed and I really understood where he was coming from. You trust your teammate, you trust one of your best friends in football, and you wanted to get him the ball most importantly. And it didn't come down to you getting a first down. And it's almost like when you play, NCAA or Madden or games like this, you go to the simple fact of like, I could run it with my running back. It comes out to a third down and then you throw an interception. It's like the first down marker is right there and there was nobody in front of me. All I had to do was slide and then call a timeout or spike the ball. What are we doing here? I think it was one of those situations with Justin Fields, man. And he'll learn from this. And I think Aaron Glenn being their coach is fantastic. The way that he's been hyping up, the way he hypes up his players, the way that he fights for them, the way that he's so passionate about making the Jets look like not a chump team anymore. It's just unfortunate that Aaron Rodgers had to come to his old team and throw 4 touchdowns against you. I think that was the only thing working against you was kind of like he had the venom going on, right? The Jets' offensive success rate was a 51.6%, ranked 3rd in the NFL for week 1 of the 2025 season. Offensive success rate, 51.6%, ranked 3rd in the NFL. Boy, oh boy, is the NFL in trouble if they have this put all together. The offense has stepped up to the plate. I know a lot of people had their concerns because of Elijah Vera Tucker, obviously tearing his bicep again. And we look at guys like rookies like Armand Membu. How well were they going to play? Man, he went against both Alex Highsmith. He went against TJ Watt and gave up 0 sacks in his rookie campaign, and he looked damn good doing it. Let's just put it that way. And to go more on top of how good that they were, the running game, the intermediate running game from Breece Hall looked better than it's ever been. Breece Hall after this game said, "Pay me." All this talk in the offseason about that he was going to be a trade candidate, he said, "I wish you would. Let me go to another team." Look, we all like Braylon Allen and what he can bring. And even I said that he should be more involved. But look, those runs that they were trying to do in the red zone of this game just were not working. I understand he's a big kid, but I want to see more runs in the red zone from Breece Hall. Can we get that moving forward? I want to see that. The defense has to step up. They're way too talented, right? They're way too talented. to not have stepped up to the plate. Quincy Williams, Sauce Gardner, you got amazing edge rushers. Jermaine Johnson and Will McDonald. The Jets rushed for 182 yards against the Steelers defense. Let that sink in for a little bit. The Jets rushed for 182 yards against the Steelers defense. Just to put in perspective of how good the running game was. Let's get over to the Bills and preview them real quick. Keon Coleman looked like a true number one receiver, man. He was breaking out of his shell. And as a Florida State guy that's been watching his career since he was at Michigan State, kid from Louisiana, playing up there in cold Buffalo, him and Josh Allen are really on the same page at this point in time. And that's really cool to see. I think everybody likes Keon Coleman, right? Everybody likes Keon Coleman. But he looked like a true number one receiver, making guys miss, stopping on the routes immediately, turning on a dime on those comebacks. He looked really good. And this is the time where the Bills need to say Khalil Shakir needs to take a step back. Thank you for your services. We'll move you to the slot, sir, and get a couple first downs. And get a couple first downs and let Keon Coleman be the guy moving forward. He's proven that. My dog's behind me trying to lick elbows and stuff. Weirdo. The Bills' offense effectively utilized multiple receivers. Their top three wideouts, Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, welcome in Joshua Palmer, all exceeding 60 yards that game, man. So it was good to see Josh kind of, do what he does as far as the running game, but also being able to get all of his guys involved. Sean McDermott there was people like 2 years ago talking about should Sean McDermott be cut? Should he get let go and let another coach get brought in? My thing is, man, if one coach that we should definitely let probably walk if he has another season like he's been having, Mike Tomlin, I think it's time for him to go. But Sean McDermott at least is getting his guys to the playoffs. Every single time they play the Chiefs, is it his fault that the rules have been against the Bills? They literally changed the overtime rules because Josh Allen, during that shootout a couple years ago, he didn't get a chance to dump it down the field. Sean McDermott is a hell of a coach, and he's dealt with a lot of adversity, a lot of new guys coming in and out, a lot of tough decisions that have been made, a lot of things that have been going on for the Bills. The Damar Hamlin situation, losing, I want to say McDonald, losing Matt Milano last year. Like, he's dealt with a lot as a coach, and a lot of his superstars, having to defend Josh Allen when he's turning the ball over, right? But still trusting him. Then go through the James Cook situation. Let's get in. This is a nice little segment of James Cook. James Cook must get more involved because the Jets are going to be better this week on pass defense. Had a pretty solid game. You saw what, some of the things that James Cook can do for the Bills, but most importantly, I think he needs to be more involved in running the ball this week. If you're going to beat the Jets this week, you have to turn it on the head where their game plan is to now stop the pass because they just saw Josh Allen tear everybody up. But confuse them and go with the run game. You know what you got with Josh. You know what you got with Keon. Their confidence is at an all-time high. Some cool stats. We're going to call this a stats guru corner. He wanted y'all to know a couple things. When it comes to the capacity of MetLife Stadium, 82,500 people is the max capacity. If you go in there with four of your friends, 4 of your family members, you just want to have a day out at MetLife Stadium, right? The combo ticket for 4 people for the cheapest seats, 4 hot dogs, 2 beers, and 2 sodas is going to cost you, and parking is going to cost you $590. So $100 plus per person. Hey man, make a trip up to MetLife. It's actually a pretty nice stadium. It's actually pretty easy to get to. I actually respect the fact that, you know, after you get off the main highway down there, that you can get into their stadium pretty good. My ultimate winner is the Jets here, right? Don's is the Bills. And this is one where it's like 50-50. This is why it's game of the week. Even though the Jets have come off a loss, I could see thinking for both people. I think that they're going to be game planning for the opposite ways of what we're thinking. And something's going to step up to the plate. Someone's going to step up to the plate and become a superstar. I think this comes down to the wire. I think the Jets are in another slug 'em, knock 'em out type of game. And I think they pulled this one out on top. The Bills defense gave up 238 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns to the Ravens, allowing 8.2 yards per carry. That stat just rings so true in my head that I just don't think that there's a way that they're going to be able to stop Breece Hall and Justin Fields from being as much of a threat as Lamar was with, you know, obviously Derrick Henry, who's a grown man. But Breece Hall is coming his own. Isaiah Davis is there. And Braylon Allen. He's got to step up to the plate. But here's what I'll say about the Bills to defend them if you did pick them. They had the best practice against a guy like Justin Fields and playing Lamar Jackson. So how did they respond to that? But I think kind of the X factor in this game is utilize the tight ends this game. We didn't get to see a lot from the tight ends in the last game between the Bills and the Ravens. Mark Andrews is pretty non-existent, screwing up some of my parlays. But Mason Taylor, your rookie, showed some flashes in college. Can he show some flashes in this game? I think that he can. So utilize Mason Taylor more. Force the Bills to try to stop your running game yet again. You know, they couldn't stop the Ravens. Tell them to stop you too. You put up 180 plus yards against the Steelers. They're no pushover defense. And I think the Jets ultimately win this game.